Hello, Melton Guy here. Another few words I want to share with you, and again, I think they're important. Others are sharing these same ideas, but I've got my say, and I want to talk to you. Just a moment. I remember long ago when I was pastoring churches, we had this huge sing. If you don't know what a sing is, that's when churches from all denominations and from all over the county or maybe even beyond that would come together, and they would have hired a quartet or a couple of quartets, or they had special singers of solos. But anyway, there was a huge crowd there. We were all having a good time. Of course, we had what they used to call dinner on the ground. That's where they had these long tables and people brought food from home, and then everybody would be joyful together, eating and thanking God for this time together. But anyway, I remember when it came time for me to say a few words before everybody started the singing, I asked the crowd, I said, I want to know how many Methodists are here. And there was a lot of people raised their hand. And I said, I want to know how many Baptists are here. Again, a lot of hands, more than the Methodists always were. Then I said, Assembly of God. I went through all the denominations I knew that were around there, and they would raise their hands. There'd be a division over here, division over here, division over here. And I said, look at all the divisiveness, the division in our crowd. Everybody looked around, and I said, let me ask you another question. How many Christians are here? And they all raised their hand. And I said, now look around. See all the unity among us. And when they raised their hand on that day, years ago, I felt they were being very honest. That I could believe that everybody that raised their hand was living somewhat of a Christian life, or a very faithful Christian life. But anyway, they were Christians. They believed in what they said. And I ask myself now, after what I've witnessed, what about today? Were I to gather a group of men and women today from all denominations, all faiths, gathered together, and I asked the same question, and then when I got to the end, when I said, how many of you are Christians? And they all raised their hand. I don't know if I can feel the honesty that I felt on that day years ago, because I know what the church has stood for, in part, large enough to influence the election of a man known by Donald John Trump. No, I don't mind mentioning that I don't know if it would be an honest reaction. But let's think about it in the secular sense. The Constitution. I would ask everybody if they believed in the Constitution. And maybe with a few exceptions, everybody's going to raise their hand. I ask if they all believe in that great concept that all humans, all people are created equal. Or that concept where Jesus said, render unto Caesar's those things that are Caesar's, unto God those things that are God's. In other words, render unto your God what is God's, but unto the state, the government, whatever you want to call it, what is owed that particular entity. And then if I ask the question, how many of you are for democracy? And they all raise their hand, I would feel no honesty if everybody in that group raised their hand. I know what's going on. I've seen it. Like I said in my last podcast, my lying eyes have told me so much. And what I've heard, and you know it too, and I can't understand why you're seeing something different. And you're saying, why am I seeing? The facts are there. And I want you to keep in mind, when we're thinking about these kinds of things, keep it in mind that just recently, a high-ranking individual belonging to a group called the Christian Nationalists saying this: we're going to have a second revolution, and there'll be no violence if the left will allow it. That is a call to arms. If you don't come over to our side, we're going to conquer you. How else would you read that? I want you to keep in mind also, when we're talking about these things, that Trump says he will not rule out violence if he loses the election. Violence. Let me just interject this to those Bible thumpers out there. And I am jumping all over the Christian nationalists and their bullshit. The Bible, your Bible, does not support the position of this evil concept of Christian nationalism. As a matter of fact, if anything, it rejects it. Do your homework. You can find that out and know it just as sure as I know it. That this is a concept that is totally contradictory to our faith and what our faith is supposed to be. You see, violence should not even be in our dictionary while we are talking about upcoming elections. But it is. Who brought it? Donald John Trump. I mean, you know, we had this pride, and the voice of that pride would say, in our nation, we've always had a peaceful transition of power. We could say that for the whole time that we've been a nation, the hundreds of years we've been a nation, until 2020. And it all ended. And we cannot say that anymore. And now, violence is coming out of the mouth of this Republican, MAGA, Christian, nationalist crap. There is no denying it. Because who brought it? Donald John Trump brought it. A person that cares nothing about you, and he'll use you and your efforts using violence to try to gain what he wants. And you know, if you can't see that by now, I'm beginning to worry significantly. There is no denying it. If we're being honest, you know, honesty. You know what honesty is? That thing comprehensively missing from Trump's mouth during this last debate. By the way, Trump did not win that debate. Biden lost that debate. You cannot win a debate when everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie, and it has been proven, it has been documented that everything he said was a lie. And there are people out there saying, yeah, talk to us, Trump, talk to us, Donald. And every word was a lie. And no, Biden did not do well at all. He lost that debate. But what he said was true for the most part. He stumbled and stammered some, but he told the truth, or tried to tell the truth. Every Democrat I've talked to since the debate has said that Joe Biden lost the debate. How many times has Trump lost a debate or anything? And did you ever hear a Republican, those people calling themselves Republicans now, say he lost? And therein lies the problem. He's not a candidate. He's not even a king. In the eyes of those people, he is a god. And they'll do whatever, what he wants. They'll see no wrong in his actions or in his words. Now, he gets a pass on everything. Which brings me to the place I need to be. Our country, given the ruling of the unconstitutional Supreme Court, given the outline of the Christian nationalists and Project 25, given the atmosphere of evil in the MAGA cult, given their refusal to say they will or will not accept the results of the presidential election in November, given the fact that Donald Trump said he cannot rule out violence if he loses, given all of that, and there is so much, much more, we, Democrats, we, independents, we need to speak louder, and we need to speak more. We need to even yell and curse and, damn it, stomp our feet more and more and more until we are heard. And I am not exaggerating. I'm not stating it enough. We must succeed and make sure that the most evil man and the most evil group in our history as a nation get no more passes. I don't know if we can be successful. I'm not trying to be grim. I don't know that. But damn it, I'll do it all. I'll scream and I'll stomp and I'll curse until we have saved this country's democracy, or we have lost it. Has it come to that? Absolutely. Go to YouTube and listen to Tennessee Brando, and many others that I mentioned in the past, Texas Paul, Midas Touch Network, and you listen to Fox, and you look and listen, and you find the truth. That's the only way it's going to happen, when you start seeing the truth, and when you start being honest with yourself. And until then, Democrats, independents, I don't care if you ever cursed in your life, but if it's going to make a difference, then you start cursing and you start stomping and you start yelling and you start screaming until we know this democracy is saved or it is lost. By the way, I just wanted to let you know that I've added the Christian nationalists to my list of those for whom I pray every day that they will make it to heaven. Like I said, if my list of people make it to heaven, no one else has anything to worry about. And that list grows every day. If you have someone you want to put in there, let me know. Remember my book on Amazon, The Offspring of Ignorance. I think you will enjoy it, and I think you'll get some insight. I didn't write it for fun. I thought it was a necessity. If you will, subscribe to my podcast and all these others I've mentioned, and give us a thumbs up. And until the next roundup, I'm going to say goodbye. Until after the 4th. And you all have a great one. God bless you.